All these protests, no kings, we can't have kings in America. But this judge is issuing orders as if he were a king. This unelected black robe tyrannical inferior. Article 3, district court judge, a political branch of government, not authorized to make policy decisions, to allocate funds, to decide what to spend money on. This judge just decided, you know what? F the law, F the Constitution, F the separation of powers. I'm just going to order it done. I'm going to wave my magic scepter, and the money will just appear like a king. The judicial king, the unelected black robe tyrannical inferior judge of America, just orders, make it so. Judge John J. McConnell. He is out of Rhode Island, and he issued an order simply telling Trump, he did this on Saturday, yesterday. He issued an early order saying, no, Trump, you just got to pay for this. You've got to pay for this. You have to keep paying for it. There's no more SNAP money in the budget. In fact, the authority to pay for SNAP at all expired the day before. There's literally no legal authority for anyone to spend money on SNAP, because who provides that authority? Congress does, and the congressional authority. The authority was already based on a prior continuing resolution to maintain the budget, because there hadn't been a real budget for ages. And the continuing resolution expired on Friday. So the legal authority for anyone in government, including the president, much less a judge, to pay for SNAP is ended. There is no legal authority to pay for SNAP. And it's remarkable. I love the little cartoon here because it puts a crown on Judge McConnell. Doing anything of the sort is illegal. It's not permitted. There is a contingency fund for SNAP benefits, but it's not, the purpose explicitly is not for government shutdowns. It's if we have, for example, a hurricane. A hurricane hits the East Coast of America, wipes out all the supermarkets or jobs or whatever, and suddenly there's a bolus increase in the number of people who need food stamps, who need SNAP. That's what the contingency is for. It's not for policy disagreements. And by the way, if it were expended on this, what if there's only enough in there for 2 to 3 weeks? What if it was used up in the next 2 to 3 weeks? And then a hurricane hits or some other natural disaster. What then? And isn't that a policy question of whether to expend that money set aside for a particular purpose on this purpose instead? Why does an unelected judge get to make that policy decision? These are obviously grotesque violations of the separation of powers. Judges making policy decisions. And Judge McConnell, as well, has made his share of anti-Trump rulings. Even worse, he appears to be thoroughly corrupted. Either he's acting like a king or is pretending that Trump is king. Is that what he's saying? Trump is king? Because Trump can simply Trump can get a scepter from the Trump store online, Trump.com, order a scepter, wave it, and just have the magic money appear. It's amazing. What's even more amazing is this judge, I don't know if he's corrupt or not, but there's a lot of red flags of corruption. For example, he was nominated, he's out of Rhode Island, he was nominated for his federal judgeship by a Rhode Island senator. Common enough, Senator Whitehouse out of Rhode Island. You think John McConnell, before he was a federal judge, you think he donated money to Senator Whitehouse's campaigns? Yeah, he did. You think he donated, how much you think he donated to Senator Whitehouse? $10,000? That's a lot of money, right? How about $50,000? How about $100,000? How about $200,000? $300,000? Keep in mind, John McConnell wants to be nominated to the federal bench, and Senator Whitehouse controls that nomination. You think McConnell gave Senator Whitehouse $300,000? How about $400,000? How about $500,000? How about $600,000? How about $700,000? You got it. John McConnell paid Senator Whitehouse $700,000 and then got nominated for a federal judgeship. You think John McConnell bought his seat on the federal bench? Does it look like that to you? Kind of looks like that to me. Then famously, earlier this year, Trump started cutting a lot of spending for NGOs and various money laundering enterprises of the Democrat Party, cutting billions. You know where Judge McConnell's wife and adult daughter worked? Well, his wife worked for an NGO. An NGO. What the heck was the name of it? I've got it here. Crossroads of Rhode Island. A major provider of, you won't believe it, a major provider of Rhode Island's food stamp program, their SNAP Employment and Training Network. That's where John McConnell's wife worked. She was on the board. This is an organization that got tens of millions of taxpayer dollars. I think it's a total of 180 million in recent years. And she was on the board getting paid, managing, controlling where that money went. This judge's wife, the wife of Judge John McConnell. You know where his adult daughter works? Well, I should say worked. And she was employed there until a month ago. The Department of Education. Is the Department of Education being negatively impacted by Trump policies? Yeah. Yeah. So is this judge's personal family, his wife, his household income, and his adult daughter and her income? Are they being personally affected, negatively affected by Trump policies? SNAP specific Trump policies in some cases? Yeah. The wife was on the board of this NGO for 17 years. 17 years. That's a career. Remains the chair of the board, the chair emeritus of the board of this NGO that's received, I believe, almost $200 million in taxpayer money laundered through that NGO. And yet this judge feels it's totally appropriate in him to be making rulings on Trump's money spending policies, SNAP policies, Department of Education policies, even though he has clear and obvious personal conflicts at play here. His immediate family members, wife and adult daughter, are being negatively impacted by these Trump policies he's making rulings on. Under the Federal Code of Judicial Conduct, he should be recusing himself, and his failure to abide by that code is a failure to serve during good behavior, which is a requirement under Article 3 of the Constitution for federal judges to keep their seats. This guy has done everything you could possibly want to warrant impeachment and removal from the bench. Unbelievable. $180 million to this Crossroads organization for whom his wife is the chair of the board, chair emeritus of the board. The same judge had ordered, when Trump did his cutbacks earlier in the year, he ordered Trump, no, you got to spend all that money. You're not allowed to stop spending money, President Trump. The elected Article 2 executive branch president of the United States, you're not allowed to stop spending money. I'm ordering you to continue spending the money that flows by the scores of millions of dollars through my wife's NGO. That got overturned on appeal. Again, another lawless order from these judges against Trump serving their own financial interest after paying $700,000 to be raised to the federal bench in the first place. So let's take a look at McConnell's initial order issued on a Saturday morning. By the way, you think it's normal for federal courts to be issuing orders on Saturday mornings? You think these judges are normally in the office on Saturdays? I suggest they're not.